Cool. What do you think?
I
Anyone
think,
here?
well, I see Susu Subaru uttering expletive of excitement.
Nice. Excellent. Let's get in on that. There it is. Welcome, Subaru. I think we know that guy.
Maybe.
So, welcome everyone. Hopefully you can see all of us and everything here. I'm Justin Noggle, here with my good buddy for many, many, many years, Scott Ramage, collaborator, contributor to our new release Wolves last Friday the 19th.
hmm
Yeah. How you doing, Scott?
I am very tired.
I hear you. I hear you. Um, tell you, having a kid that really ups the ante a little bit. I'll tell you. It looks like we're in the same room, doesn't it? Where yours is just nice and like a sterile white hospital, and mine I look like I'm on fire.
And I have a giant microphone sticking out of your amp somehow.
Yeah, I don't. How does that? Oh, Rue with the views here. What's up? What's up? Welcome, y'all. So we're here to talk a little bit about wolves and how it all went down. I guess I'll look into the camera at you fine folks. Thanks for joining, Scott. Really appreciate it.
Mhm.
Um, as mentioned before, wolves has been a labor of love and something that I actually created, came up with, geez, 20 odd years ago, 25 years ago, something like that. Um, as I tell people, it was essentially the first good song I ever wrote, at least in my opinion. And
Hmm.
it was the second song I ever wrote, probably the first song that I thought was actually had potential. So it has gone through numerous revisions and variations, versions, whatever, through the years, many of which have involved Scott. But I was probably 16, 17 when I came up with that riff initially. But the genesis of the song was finding it was like a Native American parable that I saw somewhere. I don't know if it was school related, but it was talking about the two wolves, the twelves, the twelves. Scott, it was about the twelves.
I'm
Uh,
more familiar with the Throlls howling at the moon.
the thralls. Rest in peace, Ozzy. Bark at the moon. The thralls. So the two wolves and just good versus evil and all that. But I thought it was really cool, and I knew right away I had to adapt it into a song. So it was a song that I initially created, like I said, many, many moons ago. No pun intended with the wolves, but Scott came along board a good bit later. But so how
That
did
that's
I
a way to put it. Yeah.
yeah. So that's the dot dot dot, and then something happened. So I wrote that a long time ago, and then were we playing together before the band or after the band? Well, let me rephrase that. Did we play together as the band and then we played together separately afterward?
Yes.
Okay. So,
So specifically, I got like one of those Fender starter pack basses that comes with like the bass, the amp, the cable, an instructional VHS, and then maybe days later you were like, I need a bass player for my band.
that's that sounds like it's made up, but that's really that's pretty accurate to what
Mhm.
actually happened. Um, so I was kind of a solo act of sorts, but I was just writing my own songs and little stuff. But then I was in college and I was with my buddy George and visiting the Twing Center at Case Western. Met a guy named Phil Karras. Shout out to Phil. And we started jamming and playing together. We ended up kind of forming a little mini band, and yeah, we needed a bassist. And Scott had just dabbled, and fortunately, he took to it right away. And you had played in the marching band, so we had experience in music, but that's a little different than a bass guitar. Um, but you
Slightly.
took, yeah, slightly, but you took to it right away and picked up, and it was awesome. It took forever to get a drummer. I feel like didn't we try out like four or five different drummers? That was
At
insane.
at minimum 4 or 5.
Yeah. So it was insane. And getting a good drummer with good equipment, but especially that could play and keep time and everything. Yeah. And props to Talal. I got to talk to him on Facebook a little bit the other day, which was great with the release of the song. So um, Vetus filled out the rest on lead guitar, and I was doing lead vocals and guitar too. So I can feel myself nodding off a little bit. So I'm gonna snap back to reality.
Oh,
Um,
I can help you out real quick because
please do.
I brought a visual aid for the stream. You're
Ooh,
not going
no.
to see this on Zoom, but you will see it on YouTube. So this is from the basement show with our hand-drawn whiteboard sign for our group. Wasn't this the show where Phil was like so happy that he got the solo for Genetics right, and then he unplugged his guitar in the middle of a different song?
That sounds about right. That's live at Jay's basement. That's right. That was our audience was massive. We had to have had at least what, 2, 3 people, maybe 4. It was a sold out show.
It was 7, I think was the official count.
Cool.
Not
Well,
including us.
yeah, no double dig, but yeah. So, oh frick, Subaru.
I'll do you one better because I also have this. Remember this black and white group shot? You in your Metallica shirt with your arms folded and your sideways grin.
That's right. The pseudo smirk. Yeah. Look at that goatee. Viewers at home won't know this, but yeah, I had like a fire red goatee. I'm at least part Irish, but I had, yeah, fire red goatee. It was pretty sweet. So there we are, left to right. There's Scott. That's Vetus. And then me and my Load Metallica concert t-shirt. Talal there in the back. Was he rocking a beater there?
He is, yeah.
Yeah, he had a harder job than us. And then Phil wearing his, like, I don't know, maybe he's ready to go clubbing or something. So he's got his business cash.
Go clubbing or apply for another internship, one of the two.
That's right. And I think there were variations of that photograph where like Phil was in the middle and then maybe Vias was in the middle, or Scott, you're in the middle.
Sounds about right.
Yeah. But that's when we were making the big bucks before we broke up, all that stuff.
Hmm.
But yeah, thank you for the visual aids because I don't have access to them right now, so that's totally awesome. But yeah, Scott and I go way back, as evidenced by that picture. We look young, young and beautiful.
I had round glasses instead of rectangular ones.
Hey, fun fact: Subaru in the chat is Scott's brother.
Hmm.
Yeah, sorry, you're outed. You're outed, Subaru. But yeah, so this song was near and dear to my heart. It's, like I said, the one that I wrote like second, and the main riff for it is not anything cataclysmic. It's nothing super complex. Then again, they say with AC/DC, their songs aren't that complicated and they're amazing. I'm not saying that I'm AC/DC, but we rolled with it, and I mean, this new version. Scott, go ahead, please go ahead.
I was just doing like the mental math on that, and I realized there is no A, C, or D in your name.
Yeah, yeah, very true, very true. So there have been probably 3 or 4 different versions of Wolves. So there was the OG that was pretty rough, and then there was the band version, which was improved. Then there was another version from the band JS Mahina. That was Scott's naming.
I believe Susu Super is referencing a certain photograph from that time period.
Oh my gosh. I
Mhm.
really hope that can't be uploaded in the chat. Oh, what a lame laugh too that was. Sorry. But it's a photo. I mean, it's pretty badass. Can I say that? Sorry. Talking about donkeys. But anyway, so wrote the song, brought it to the band, and I originally had this bridge part that was kind of a dun, 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 dun. You didn't know you'd get mouth guitar in this, did you? I should be charging for this little event. And it had like a talking part over it. And at the time I thought that was great. In hindsight, not a fan of the talking parts. But one thing that was improved, I think, Scott, you probably helped with, and Phil too, that I had a section in the verse that was just like a 4-bar repeat with certain singing, and then it was a 4-bar repeat again, but it was a different kind of amped up singing, but the actual structure of the riff was the same. And I think you and Phil were just like, why don't you mix this up? So it was a little more, I don't know, some triplet feel kind of stuff just to make it a little more exciting. So
Mm-hmm.
that's been implemented into the newer version.
Yep, go on.
Yeah. And along with that, the solo originally, I liked it. I was, oh my gosh, there. Yeah, make sure to cover our faces. Cover mine too, because I'm probably blushing. I look like an orange. I'm gonna look like a tomato after this. This is great. Oh my
Thank you,
God.
Susu Subaru, for sending me that.
When you think metal, uh,
You think the environment.
you do.
Mm-hmm.
You're like, I am the Lorax. I speak for the trees.
We're just gonna keep that in the corner over here for the entire however long this lasts.
Oh my gosh. You look like you don't want to be there, which is probably the right choice. And I'm like, how can I hold this guitar like no one would ever hold a guitar unless they're standing in front of a tree in in a suburban development. Wow. Jay, welcome to Earth. What's up with you? Thanks for being here. It's good stuff. This little Wolves recap. So, fun story, not fun. I was originally going to do this little live stream the day it went live. The song went live on the 19th, but YouTube didn't like it. So, no bueno. But we're here. It's cool though now. It's just a little in that honeymoon period. Releasing the song was awesome. Scott, what did you think of the final result? Was it okay? Decent?
I think it was probably the best version of the song that I'd heard.
Good. I hope so.
But
Because yeah.
something you said earlier got me wondering. You said Wolves was probably the first good song you came up with. How many bad ones did you come up with first?
You're not the only person that asked that. Oh my gosh, CD insert, Tim. Yeah, it really should. So awful. It's funny. I've written several bad ones, but it was the second song that I invested in. How about that? So like I think I went through a few ideas or songs that were just kind of lackluster. There was one in particular that I've played for Angela that I played for my parents and they laughed, and that will never ever come out. So, but then Wolves, I tried to redeem myself a little bit. Totally redeem myself. Um, but what else do we do? I remember when we were kicking around the idea, I remember I asked you about it, and without hesitation, you were totally on board with joining the cause here. Because I mean, I did originally on my own, but the band was great. We got the influx of opinion from Phil and stuff, and Vitas had a cool solo, if I recall. It was pretty great.
Mm-hmm.
In your bass work, of course, and then your backup vocals, which if I didn't make this, nice. Jay's going to listen to it again. Thank you. I'm going to put in the chat, by the way, the link.
Yeah, sure.
If I remember it. So, by the way, the song, the lyric video is on YouTube here, which you should be able to find on my channel and soon, I think, on Scott's channel. But this link here that I just put in there, the bit.ly, blah, 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 shortcut I made, takes you to the link for Spotify and Apple Music and stuff like that. I apologize. I don't think the YouTube Music one showed up yet. Good news, though, if you use Deezer, I don't know of anyone on the planet. I know other people in other countries use it, but I don't know of anyone in this country that uses Deezer. But the link is there for that as well. So just so you know. But I remember Vitas came in late in the game with the band, and he added some nice flavor and leads, tasty leads, and he had his own solo.
Mm-hmm.
The original version, I'm sure you recall, was me doing I don't know, it was just like, I want to play fast, but nothing fancy. So it was just me doing some like tremolo picking on notes that I thought worked, sounded pretty cool. And then like a sequence of pinch harmonics. But the way we recorded it, there was nothing behind it, no bass, no drums. So it was just naked lead guitar. So it kind of brought the whole thing to a standstill, stalled out. So this time around, we got together. Scott said, "Yeah, I'm totally in." We tweaked it a bit, and just no one has patience anymore, including myself. You'd think you get more patience as you get older, but people have no patience listening to music or watching videos. But I felt like the original song was 4 beats, 4 bars, should say, of the intro riff. There was just a palm muted version of the main riff, and then another 4 riffs. Sorry, 4 bars of the main riff, but with 8 going into it, I thought it was getting a little too long in the tooth. My cash wolves, amazing. So Scott can't handle it. Scott's gonna dip out. If he just vanishes, you'll know why. And then I'm gonna go find a tree to take a picture with.
And I'll take the whole stream down with me.
He's taking the whole dang thing down. But this time, tried to streamline a little bit, kept the bridge that was, instead of the bridge, it was just like a weird little riff with talking over, went to that tempo change. So are the lyrics posted somewhere? That's a great question, Jay. They are present in the YouTube video. They should be on Spotify now. Actually, I lied. They started charging to add the lyrics to Spotify, so I didn't do that.
If you want to, you can dump the lyrics into the description for the video as well.
Yes, I will do that. That's a great idea. Thank you. I'll do that for sure. That way you won't have to just read them all. If I can find it, I wonder if that's too much for the chat. Let me see if I'll just grab it real quick. Let's see, Wolves lyrics. There we go. So it's weird when you upload it for stuff, it asks you to repeat the stuff. So you'll see the chorus numerous times, but hopefully I don't break the chat. Yeah, it's 700 characters too long. Yeah. We'll go with that. Thanks, Jay. Appreciate it, man. But I will include that in the description for sure. But we were talking about that a little bit earlier. It was just this parable of 2 wolves, this Native American thing, and the grandfather conveying that the power to choose is within you. And obviously the good and evil, good versus evil thing is in everything. Songs, movies, the whole world, Bible, the whole thing. So but yeah, so I'm all over the place, but what we ended up with for the bridge was that faster 150 beats per minute section. And I've had some people tell me they actually like that quite a bit, just to switch up, because the song itself, if anyone cares, wants to nerd out, was 118 beats per minute. And then that bridge kicks into 150 beats per minute, and then it drops back. And the original song it didn't end with the normal chorus. It just had the final chorus of this version. So it was, instead of a fight between 2 wolves, which will you feed, blah, blah, blah. It was just which wolf will win, the young boy asked. But this time it was a final chorus of the original, then that ending chorus. And this time I wanted to make it a little spicier, a little extra excitement, and made the ending a different key, shifted it up from E minor to F sharp minor. So a whole step. So, but yeah, I think it added a nice touch. And I'm going to be honest, I think, Scott, your vocals were awesome. And I don't know why that part was the honest part. What I was going to say was they were awesome. But the ending of the song is honestly one of my favorite parts. Just that ending held note, harmonizing note that we have. And then it goes into the main riff with like that kind of weird cycling kind of sound of the riff that I did. I think that sounds fantastic. And you did a great job. And, I did some little harmonies at the end of the verses, but they weren't nearly as cool as the ones you did in the choruses with me. So props. Thank you for that. Let's see. Jay says, how do you incorporate the drums into it? Software, or do one of you do them? So I'm going to answer that indirectly and then directly. So when we did the original together, the JS Mahina version, we were using this stupid little, this is bad, for scale, but it was this little Zoom recorder that was like, what, 4 inches, 5 inches by 5 inches, this little square. I think Scott has one too. It's like it was a travel guitar amp kind of simulator, and it was great.
Okay,
My
so
grandma
this
guitar.
isn't exactly the same thing. This is like a decade and a half younger, but I do have this. This is also
Yeah,
like a Zoom handy recorder. The one that we had was silver. It was
yeah,
like maybe this wide by comparison and about as tall.
yeah.
And you could record 4 tracks onto it and then program a drum track with some built-in software on it.
Yes. And that is precisely what Scott did. And I don't know how you did it. Like it looked impossible to me, like black magic, but
A
uh
lot of patience.
which is my strongest virtue. You can ask my wife. Yeah. Uh but that thing, like you were able to pull it together and it actually sound really good. And what's funny is I would play that version for some people, and the one guy was like, dude, you gotta mix this stuff. And I'm like, oh yeah, that would probably help. I mean, it was literally just all the songs, tracks just stacked on top of each other. And considering what we were using, I think it sounded pretty good. But I think our guitars were out of tune. They weren't intonated properly. Um, just the recording environment wasn't ideal. But as time has gone on, just the technology gets better and better, it gets cheaper and cheaper. And for better or worse, any schmuck like me can make music and just throw it out in the world. So, but on a serious note, the capability is there. You can really make great stuff for cheap. The hardware and software has gotten incredibly inexpensive. But Jay, to answer your question directly, I programmed the drums using something called Easy Drummer. It's Easy Drummer 3 that I have now. I think it was Easy Drummer 2. I think Scott, you're using that too now, right? Easy.
Yeah, I'm actually using that right now. Although,
Nice.
one thing, I do actually have a drum set over here, and I started like picking up the basics of how to play drums because when I first started like composing drum tracks myself, I would compose things that were physically impossible to play.
Yep. Yep. So, two things about that, probably three. One is that I also started trying to play my own drums. So, on this channel, I will have more songs. I split my channels into two. So I have like my goofy shorts comedy, and now I have the music. So I'll be releasing the songs again on this channel. But the point is, the first two I did back in like 2018, I had a drum pad type scenario, not as nice as the one Scott has, and I was playing the drums. I was playing the drums. I imagine Scott is way better than me, but I was playing them, and my drumming skills were drastically worse than my guitar skills, which are already mediocre. Um, but the drumming was just holding me back, and I didn't have a drummer, and the ability to use something like Easy Drummer is incredible. And unlike MIDI drums, like that you're actually programming like one at a time, dots, drums, this software is incredible, and you can use different patterns and kind of link them together essentially. Um, and while I feel bad that it's not a real drummer, um, I think it fakes it pretty well. And it's not nearly as good as my Nintendo 64 skills. Yes. Um, but on another note, I mentioned in the beginning of my um, in the beginning of the lyric video that in memory of Todd, he was a coworker of mine and a professional drummer, and an amazing guy, incredible coworker, funny as heck, but a professional drummer for like 30 years. And he was my drums consultant of sorts. So we always joked that, it was like R2D2. I was like programming the drums like bleep, bleep, boop, boop, bloop. So, and he went along with it, even though he probably wanted to kill me for using something that's not a real drummer. But I brought that up, one, because he did a great job helping me harness the stuff. But to your point, Scott, like if you just program stuff, it's very easy to create something that makes no sense for a drummer that they either could never play or more likely they just would never play. I can't even give a good example, but it's like drummers only have, two arms, two legs. So if they're doing, something totally absurd, it's going to sound weird. Yeah, please, Scott.
One of my first things I ever composed with a MIDI composer called Cakewalk Music Creator.
Yeah.
I had a sequence where on the drums, the drummer was simultaneously hitting a ride cymbal and doing a like super fast drum fill across 4 different toms.
Yeah, nice. So literally physically impossible.
Hmm.
And that's amazing. And you don't think about it, and so I would actually ask, Todd, I'd be like, hey, how's this sound? Is this good? And like I would overcomplicate it, which is what I do all the time anyway, but
Damn it,
he would
Zoom.
yes, he would often have me do it. Like I would do like a really cool just fill section, and then I would do a whole other section. He's like, you know what, dude? Why don't you just do a halftime? Just continue the same feel, the same exact layout, just do a halftime, or then later maybe do a double time. And it was so much more organic. And I didn't think that way because I'm like, I got to spice this up. It's got to be different and new. And he helped bring it under control. So
Mm.
he helped me do that with the drums for, geez, 3 or 4 different songs. Rest in peace, Todd. Miss you, man. So yeah, the drums, that's one thing, but on many of my songs, I've played the bass, but I should really recruit Scott for all of them because he's far more accomplished on bass than I am.
Well, another reason I wanted to jump back in on Wolves was
Yeah, please.
like I'd only been playing bass a couple years or so for that version, and like I will not say that I'm a great bass player, but I'm significantly better than I was, and I was able to do a lot more with the song this time around.
Absolutely. And that's so, I mean, we were both on the same page. Like, this really is and was the definitive edition. I mean, I like to think that I've written, I don't know, better, more complex songs or something sense, but going back to this one, it felt good. It felt right. And it was really fun to add some new flourishes and stuff. And I'll tell you, the solo on it took me a while to really figure out. If you've heard my other songs, I have a tendency to just want to go fringing crazy and just play fast for the sake of fast. It's dumb and it works on songs, I think, like Face the Flames, but it's not always fitting. And I really wanted to do something that fit the song. Because I've talked to people on this song, I feel like, I don't know what you'd say, Scott, but I feel like it's got like a grunge feel, but it's metal, but it's hard rock and it's heavy rock. So I kind of call it heavy rock, but the main riff is kind of grungy. What do you think?
I think that's a fair assessment, yeah.
Yeah. So it's, and a friend from New Church I'm in and a bandmate soon was talking about he really liked the cleaner sound of the solo. So you get that kind of grungy distortion, then like I wouldn't say bell like clean, but cleaner with delay and stuff that kind of ping pongs around. But that solo, I broke it up into chunks, and I think it ended up working well to segue between the sections. At first, it felt kind of just like disparate, like I was just like, well, this is cool, and this is cool, and this is cool. But I think it flowed. And when I was talking about the genre, I really wanted to play a solo to the song and not overplay. Not suggesting I'm Van Halen or Joe Satriani or something, but I didn't want to just Yngwie Malmsteen, all over the main riff, just even if I could. Um, so just doing some,
And then boot your guitar pick into the crowd.
yes, exactly. So I really just I really just wanted to do some, simple kind of melodic diatonic stuff in the beginning. That's so nerdy. Just melodic stuff in key, and then do just some pentatonic type stuff. Susu Subaru said he heard a little Zach Wildish stuff, so that's high praise, but I'll take it. It's a little pinch harmonic stuff. Had to keep that in. Um, the and then just a little fast little part, and I love those harmony bends. So I love doing that into the solo and then out just to head right back into the final chorus. Yeah. So it's been a lot, but it's been totally awesome. Dude, Joe is here. What's up? I'm not going to repeat everything I said, Joe. I'm going to make you watch everything later. I look like an orange. Yeah. Or I'm in a tanning bed right now. That's my little home studio is a tanning bed. So
You're
I
either
made
you're either tanning or developing film.
that's right. Um, Let me see here. Yeah, I want to talk about some stuff. Talked about the variations, the bridge, solo. Yeah, we really have. I would have to go back. I know I have a few copies of various versions, but I think there've legit been 4 to 5 different versions. And using that little Zoom thing to record was ridiculous. Um, what we did do, which was kind of nice, Scott was in town. Um, that's bull. Scott was in town. I don't remember when or why, but we kind of did hash out. We kind of did. We kind of hashed out what we were going to do with the format and everything. And something I've always loved about Scott and his workflow is that he just goes and follows along like perfectly. Like you really, it's magic, Scott. I'm just going to say it out loud. It's magic. You just follow it and go. And I'm all like, has to be this. And I'm like, I got this section, this section. And Scott's kind of like, just play it and I'll follow along.
Like if you've ever seen one of those cartoon sequences where like a guy's getting chased and then he jumps on a skateboard and then he launches off of that, lands in a car, starts driving. That's basically me trying to follow along with a song.
Yes, trying to follow. So I just remember I was like writing it all out on this another dry erase board. It wasn't the same dry erase board, but another dry erase board. And I was just like, yeah, 2 repeats of this, 2 repeats of that, and then we're gonna go in the main. Scott's just like, whatever, dude, just send it my way, and I will play on it, and it will be awesome.
I go by feel more than anything else.
Yeah, and I think that's friggin' great, and I think it turned out really well, in general and as a result. But where I'm going with that too is that we got together and kind of hashed it out as I mentioned, but everything else was done remotely, right, Scott? I don't think we did anything
Yeah.
else in person.
Yeah, that was
So
it.
the beauty of, multi-tracking and the internet, we can send stuff back and forth, and we corresponded, and I would send him my just all the tracks I had or just a compiled wave file, and he would record his stuff, toss them back and forth, and it's pretty beautiful. I mean, there's definitely a lot to be said for the live thing and playing live as a group, and I do miss that playing with Scott, but it was pretty amazing that he could be, hours away from me and I can just sling him the stuff and sling him back. And I think by and large, we didn't have too many technical issues.
Not really, no.
Um,
Speaking of
so that,
technical issues, Zoom's probably going to kick us off pretty soon.
oh, crud. You're right. We have 3 minutes left on that. Jeepers creepers. Wow. Guess we're gonna be wrapping this up real soon. Sorry, Joe. Um, but yeah, we used Reaper as our DAW, our digital audio workstation. It's $60 for like a license. It's good for years. Technically, it's free for full access, but it's good to pay, and it's $60. When you've got like Pro Tools and stuff that are hundreds of dollars, it's legit, and you can customize the crap out of it. Um, that's there you go, Subaru. So I mean, before we run out of time, I was thinking we had an hour, but Scott and I were prepping stuff. So, um, thank you so much to everyone for your support on Facebook, on YouTube. Please tell your friends. If you like the song, tell your friends. If you don't like it, tell your enemies. That's what I always say. Just tell everyone. I'm going to throw those lyrics for the song in the description of the lyric video too, so you don't have to watch the whole thing for that.
Yeah. If that doesn't work, you could always make it a pinned comment underneath it. One of those two.
Yeah. Yes. So look for that. Greatly appreciate the support. You guys being here now. This won't be the last live stream I do. Shout out to Scott and everything. I'm going to put in the comments and or description links for his page. He does tons of great stuff on his channel. But yeah, please spread the word. This won't be the last song. I'm probably going to take a break for a couple months to be with the family and holidays and all that with the baby and everything. But to send us out, thank you again, everyone. Scott, please tell everyone about your channel.
It's SCXCR. I post video game stuff and occasionally music.
Yes.
I have a 2-hour video coming out tomorrow.
If his computer finishes rendering everything. Yeah, for sure. but you guys are the best, and your support means the world to us. And take care.